All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise and glories unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Harakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the elect. Shalom unto you. Uh, Here it is. This is from CBSNews.com. It says Subway bread isn't bread. Ireland Supreme Court says. Okay, and this was back from the 1st of October. And when you go into this, man, it shows you that you can't trust this devil, man. You can't trust this guy, okay, just to do the things of necessity. Okay, he always has something underlying of what it is. Okay, here it says Ireland Supreme Court has ruled that bread sold by the fast food chain, showing you that Subway is still fast food, okay? Chain Subway contains so much sugar that it cannot be legally defined as bread. Okay, the ruling came in a tax dispute brought by Bookfinders Ltd., an Irish Subway franchisee, which argued that some of its takeaway products, including teas, coffees, and heated sandwiches, were not liable for value-added tax. Okay, it says the panel of judges rejected the appeal Tuesday, ruling that the bread sold by Subway contains too much sugar to be categorized as a staple food, which is not taxed. Yeah, you're not supposed to tax food staples. Okay, but Subway in their recipe has so much sugar in it, it's ridiculous, right? They can't call it bread because bread doesn't need that amount of sugar to be bread. Okay, it says there is no dispute that the bread supplied, this is quote, there is no dispute that the bread supplied by Subway in its heated sandwiches has a sugar content of 10% of the weight of the flour included in the dough. Wow, thus exceeds the 2% specified, the judgment read. Yeah, so it's supposed to only contain 2% or less sugar to still be in the weight of the flour to make the dough. Is how much it's supposed to be, but it's 10% of the weight of the flour. So basically, a tenth of the weight of the flour versus 2% of the weight of the flour. It's 10%, 8% more than it should be. Okay, continuing on, it says the law makes a distinction between bread as a staple food and other baked goods, which are or approach confectionery or fancy baked goods. The judgment said, yeah, if you want a cinnamon raisin bread or something like that, yeah, that's not a staple food. That's going to be taxed. You understand the difference? What they're saying? If you want waffles, that don't count as bread. Okay. So on and so forth. It says Bookfinders was appealing a 2006 decision by authorities who refused to refund value-added tax payments. Lower courts had dismissed the case before it reached the Supreme Court. The ruling comes years after Subway suffered from an onslaught of bad publicity sparked by a food blogger who petitioned the chain to remove a bread ingredient found in many products, including yoga mats. Wow, it's an ingredient. In 2014, the popular sandwich chain phased the chemical out of its bread. Probably eat that shit now. I wouldn't eat it anyway. Over yoga mat chemical. It was in their bread to make it that spongy doughy. That's probably what it is. And I think that's the end of it. Yep. Wow. Okay, so what does this mean? That means Esau is a damn mad scientist, man. This guy will put anything into your food, but he understands what he's putting in your food. Like the scriptures say, he's wiser than Daniel. Okay, he understands what he's doing and how it's going to react to your body. That's why he'll slip things like fluoride in your toothpaste, pork inside your candy, and gelatin in certain things that don't even eat the cereals, and so on and so forth. because he knows it's gonna interact with your body and cause inflammation. Okay, he fully is aware of those things. Okay, when he gives them to you. Let me get a couple scripts. Oh yeah, this one of course, yeah. Ezekiel 4:13, and the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles, whither I drive them. Yeah, and this is part of that. It's not just the bread that this scripture is talking about, but particularly everything's going to be defiled that we deal with. Okay? Everything's going to be defiled that we deal with. But we're going to, like it also said, we're going to eat poison and live. Okay? Let's see here. Now I want to go to, Isaiah 10, because they put these ideas together knowing that they're going to destroy, particularly you jakes, but they'll destroy people and keep them trapped in that system or that pit of the hospital, and pharmaceutical industries. Okay, medical and pharmaceutical. It says Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. There's no reason to have 8% extra the amount of sugar in your sandwiches, and they weren't even arguing that they have that much. They're arguing if they can tax it as a staple food or not. That's what the argument is. It's understood Subway has that type of sugar in their bread. It's like McDonald's and all these other places has the ketchup in McDonald's is full of sugar. The barbecue sauce we know is full of sugar anyway. Their bread, all types of things in there have flavor enhancers and so on and so forth. They give you those things to make you want to eat and make your senses believe you're hungry, even though your body's not wanting nourishment. And then when you eat these depleted foods that make you addicted, because sugar, I think, is at the top of the most addicted list, or something worth looking up, of things, addicting foods, or chemicals. I think it's an addicting chemical. I think it's even more than cocaine. Sugar is addicting. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. And when you take in that much sugar, it makes you acidic. Okay, what is this? The acid in your system cause inflammation. That's one of the curses. Right there in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay, it causes inflammation. Matter of fact, I'm going to get it. Then I'll go back. It's around like 22 or something. Matter of fact, I start 21. The Lord Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Yep. 22. Yep. The Lord Yahweh shall smite thee with a consumption, and with the fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with the blasting, and with the mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Okay, so that's what we get. Matter of fact, because we can't make our own stuff. Let me see. Or something that further down. I'll read it in 3, because you do have to grow your own fruit of the land. It says, verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed away. We're never going to get the proper crops to come to harvest as we need, because others will eat it up. The land won't be fruitful like that for us. All types of things. These are the curses the Heavenly Father put upon us. Where's the one I wanted? The locust shall consume. Wow. It basically says, here we go. Verse 48 says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Let's see what the other one I wanted. No. Yep, 59. Then the Lord Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and thy plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Okay, so we get sick when we eat these things, because this is what, going back to Isaiah, this is what this devil has prescribed for us. Okay? Grievousness, inflammation, addiction to sugar. So now we want sweet drinks, we want alcoholism, because a lot of people don't make the correlation between sugar and alcohol. Your body reads those two things the same. So if you're addicted to sugar as a child, you're probably going to become addicted to alcohol as an adult. And if you do get away from alcoholism, that type of sugar content that you're used to having in your body, you're going to begin to crave sweets. Okay? They don't always tell you that. Okay? You have to do some research to find that out. Verse 2, it says, to turn aside the needy from judgment. Hey, and I missed it, but it said we will go to a nation, they will lend to us and we shall not lend to them. Okay? We're gonna go to them for the want of all things. You know, food is on that list as well. Okay, hunger I think was the word it used that I read. Okay, we gotta go to them when we're hungry, meaning we gotta go to work. We can't just go out to the crop and pick fruits off a tree or go get seeds and then build it on our land. We can't do all that. We got to go to these grocery stores. You can have yourself a little garden, but they're not going to let you get an orchard. Not without some major investments from them and that they co-sign that it's all right for you to grow these things. Okay? They were like some of the Amish, they actually shut them down because they were harvesting healing herbs and then putting them in measure and distributing them out to the people. Okay? Anyway, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment, to make them not needy, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Yeah, the children and the women. Okay? Because they'll incarcerate and kill us men off, but then the women and the children grow up in the society, and you watch the society change. If you've been paying attention for the last 20, 30 years, society has changed. If you go back further than that, you can see it even better. But society has changed because they took the men out the house and they gave the women all these liberties, and then they but the women still had to work. Then they gave the children, fed them all this sugar and poison, man. From poison music to poison foods, man, to destroy their pineal glands, calcify them, to fluoridate them. Okay, all types of grievous prescriptions. Okay, that they've given unto our people because they want to destroy us. All right, and Subway's a part of that system. 10% sugar in the bread alone. We're not talking about the sauce that you pour on the sandwich. Okay? That negates the purpose of all those vegetables that you're putting on the sandwich. Okay? From there, yep, I'll go to the second address. And what it is, your body is in such a want and need of nourishment, right? That we continue to eat BS, man, because we don't know the proper direction. It's going to get so bad that these people, that this chemical drug of this sugar that they've been, matter of fact, let me see if I can Google I know there's a study on it somewhere. Yep, 19, let me see, bear with me. All right, I asked, is sugar an addictive chemical? It says sugar is noteworthy as a substance that releases opioids and dopamine, and thus might be expected to have addictive potential. That's funny. Evidence for sugar addiction, behavioral and neurochemical effects of intermittent. That doesn't sound like a bad. Let's go into that right quick. Yeah, here was that point. Addictive potential. Yeah, they're not gonna. And here we go. 4 components of addiction are analyzed: binging, withdrawal, craving, and cross sensitization are each given operational definitions and demonstrated behaviorally with sugar binging as a reinforcer. So the same things that people go through when they're coming off of drugs, those your body has those same effects when with sugar. Okay, it says these behaviors are then related to neurochemical changes in the brain that occur with addictive drugs. Neural adaptations include changes in dopamine and opioid receptor binding, in kephalin, MNRA expression, and dopamine and acetylcholine release in the nucleus accumbens. The evidence supports the hypothesis that under certain circumstances, rats can become sugar dependent. This may relate to some human conditions as suggested by the literature on eating disorders and obesity. Okay, so there's many situations where sugar lines right up with addictive drugs. Okay, and the name of this article was from Neuroscience and Behavioral Reviews. It says evidence for sugar additive. I don't know what that is. You can see it at the top. This is a government site, but it says evidence for sugar addiction, behavioral and neurochemical effects of intermittent excessive sugar intake. So they went from the 2% in Subway to 10%. It's an 8% jump. And that's the weight of the flour that's in bread. 10% of the weight of flour is sugar. And it's supposed to be 2 or less. That's ridiculous. Okay. I'm going to read this part too. I skipped it. It says, abstract. It says, the experimental question is whether or not sugar can be a substance of abuse and lead to a natural form of addiction. Food addiction seems plausible because brain pathways that evolve to respond to natural rewards are also activated by addictive drugs. Okay? So they hit the same sensors in your brain. Those electrical sensors that go off in your brain that release dopamine and so on and so forth. Those things that drugs hit also, they hit with sugar. And I would venture to say that white sugar, I don't mean like natural sugar, but white sugar is even worse. It's even more of a chemical. Okay, because they've taken all the natural nutrients out of it. Okay, so let's go back. And this, when you think about the addiction to sugar that the people have, when bread is cut off and they can't get their sugar and their fulfillment, their comfort of that bread, it's going to make the people crazy. Here's a prophecy in 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. I'm going to go straight to the point. In 19, it said, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yeah, when people get hungry and there's no bread in the grocery stores, there's no bread in people's houses, they're going to rifle each other's houses looking for food. And they're going to be frustrated. And you think this addictive qualities that are in a lot of the processed foods that the American people, and all over the world even, but particularly you Americans, that you people take in, you think that's not going to affect how you react to not having it anymore when your withdrawal symptoms come in? And I've seen children addicted to sugar, not just because it tastes so good. I mean, we all like candy, right? Most of us anyway. But kids that parents allow them to drink soda and eat sugary cereals and jellies and just all this stuff that's artificial and not really give their children natural fruit. Hey man, those kids are way more irritable. They have uh, uh, um, ADHD, and and all those things like that go with that, man. Okay, the reason why they can clinically diagnose you with those things like ADHD is because they know the chemical that they gave you that you've been partaking in. Okay, so these people are gonna bug out, man, when there's no more bread because they need their sugar fix. Okay, but plus they're just gonna want to fill their bellies as well, and they're gonna want to be satisfied with that sugar. It's like when you go back to the '80s and even before, when people didn't get their drug fixes, what do people begin to do? They begin to steal, rob, and murder to get what they need. Crack was huge, and I know all of us that were around in the '90s saw the evidence of what happened in the '80s with the whole crack thing. Okay, how we watched our uncles and aunts and so on and so mothers and fathers even uh, uh, bug the hell out. We were raised by our grandparents because we watched our parents bug the hell out. Okay, for that drug. Well, it's going to be a similar thing for sugar, and you people are so addicted to it, you don't realize how much sugar is in even the healthy things that you drink. Yeah, the world has become more conscious of sugar, especially white sugar and so on and so forth. But a lot of the masses, because of the price, it's cheap to take the chemical. Okay, so I just want to bring that out about Subway, man. This in the effects of sugar. Okay, these people know that they're purposely giving you that large amount of sugar in your diet. Okay, that large amount of sugar in your diet that it makes you addicted, and you will go from Subway to McDonald's to Coca-Cola sodas and so on and so forth, all the way around to your teeth are rotting and falling out, until your kidneys and so on and so forth are shut down, and you're in that system until it gets to the point when they shut everything off, and there is no more grocery stores, no manufacturers bringing it in, and there's a famine out there that you're gonna go house to house and be willing to kill to have that urge for sugar, and you may not even know it's sugar, but have that urge to to kill for that, right? To have that craving satisfied. Okay, and this is what the men of the Lord are trying to reverse in our people, calling our people out about that. Okay, let them know that, hey, you need a better diet. Okay, so anyway, with that, I'm gonna close out giving all praise and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Barakak. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at the great millstone. Greetings, salutations, and blessings unto your elect. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.